one of the most feared names in NBA. YoungBoy's organization just got hit with the kind of charges that end careers. OTS Lil Pap, the guy everyone knows as the Muscle, the one who handles problems, is now facing 10 attempted first-degree murder counts. But this isn't just about Pap anymore. This arrest is pulling back the curtain on how the whole operation actually works, and federal prosecutors are taking serious notes. Pap was never supposed to be famous. He wasn't the talent. He was the protection, the enforcer, the person you called when things got real. But here's the problem. He was never really part of the family either. He was always more of a hired gun, valuable when needed, disposable when things went wrong. Let's trace back to understand how someone becomes that person. We need to go to Baton Rouge in the 2000s. This wasn't a normal city. It was a war zone. Different crews controlled different areas, and the violence was constant. The Wreck, a section of North Street, and 46th was ground zero for that chaos. OTS Lil Pap grew up there, but unlike a lot of young people trying to escape, he embraced it. The streets weren't something to run from for him. They were his home. Pap was older than NBA YoungBoy and most of the crew around him. By the time NBA YoungBoy was still developing his music, Pap was already seasoned in street life. He had no interest in rapping or building something legitimate. The trenches were where he belonged, and he was comfortable staying there. Baton Rouge in that era was fractured into different factions. TBG, Top Boy Gorillas, emerged as a major crew before Lil Ivy got murdered in 2005. BBG, or Bottom Boy Gorillas, became their main rival. Every young person in the city had to pick a side or create their own. Everyone was competing to prove they were the realest, the toughest, the most dangerous. NBA YoungBoy connected to TBG when he was a teenager. His friendship with G Money's younger brother opened that door, and soon he was making music alongside G Money and others in that crew. This was before NBA YoungBoy became a household name. He was just another kid trying to make noise and rap. What's interesting is that Pap noticed NBA YoungBoy's potential before most people did. He started putting the young rapper in front of people, talking him up around Baton Rouge. He even introduced Scotty Kane to NBA YoungBoy's music back when Scotty was way more established. But this wasn't about Pap being a mentor or friend. It was pure business. He saw opportunity. He understood that protecting this kid's life could lead to something bigger for everyone involved. As Pap explained it himself, without real security money, he had to personally ensure nothing happened to his investment. The entire relationship was transactional from day one. Pap understood the assignment. NBA YoungBoy was going to blow up, and if Pap stayed close, he'd benefit. So he positioned himself as the answer to the crew's security and violence problem. When something needed handling, Pap moved, no hesitation, no questions asked. When rivals got comfortable, Pap reminded them why they shouldn't be. He was reliable, effective, and genuinely committed to the mission. But there was always distance between Pap and the actual family. While some crew members got treated like brothers, Pap remained outside that circle. He got paid, he got opportunities, but he wasn't in the inner circle making decisions. He was labor. Important labor, but still labor. Everything shifted when NBA YoungBoy started feeling undervalued within TBG. He decided to branch out and build his own thing with his brother OG33 and other associates. The break was personal and quick. He released Life Before Fame with TBG, but his next project, Mind of a Menace, came with clear shots aimed at his old crew. NBA YoungBoy was openly disrespecting them, suggesting they were jealous of his growing success. Family dynamics made it messier. NBA YoungBoy's cousin Bazilla was affiliated with BBG, the rivals of TBG. There were rumors that Bazilla even wanted NBA YoungBoy dead. G Money had apparently protected him from his own cousin at some point. By 2016, the situation was explosive. NBA YoungBoy was beefing with TBG hard, and nobody was holding back. Then came November 2nd, when NBA YoungBoy's cousin, Boozilla, got killed. Boozilla had beef with someone named Dusa, who was connected to Forever Loyalty, a crew tight with TBG. The streets immediately blamed Dusa and his people for the murder. That killing sparked everything. Bodies started dropping almost immediately after. Within hours of Boozilla's death, NBA YoungBoy took his crew into enemy territory and started shooting. NBA YoungBoy was hanging out of a car with an assault rifle, letting loose. One of his homies, NBA Joe, took a bullet to the neck during the exchange. Pap was there, showing exactly where his commitment lay. It was a statement: mess with NBA YoungBoy's crew, and there would be consequences. The situation that really made Pap's name known involved G Money. And G Money wasn't just some random rival. This was someone who came up with NBA YoungBoy, who helped him early on when they were both part of TBG. When NBA YoungBoy left to start something new, it became deeply personal. G Money started hitting back. While NBA YoungBoy was dealing with legal trouble from the Boozilla situation, G Money dropped a track called WNBA Smoke with Pablo El Chapo. This was G Money finally returning fire after taking shot after shot from NBA YoungBoy on various tracks. Then G Money connected with Scotty Kane on Ain't Gon' Ride, which escalated things further. Scotty and NBA YoungBoy had history. They made music together, but then became enemies. There was even an incident where Scotty supposedly pulled a gun on NBA YoungBoy in the studio. The real root of the conflict came down to one thing: family disrespect. G Money had been with NBA YoungBoy's sister back when they were close. When that relationship ended, G Money weaponized it. He started talking about it constantly, rubbing it in NBA YoungBoy's face. NBA YoungBoy responded with diss tracks, but G Money initially tried to stay focused on his own career. The pressure from NBA YoungBoy's constant shots eventually broke him down, though. G Money gave an interview where he completely disrespected NBA YoungBoy's family. He talked openly about his past with NBA YoungBoy's sister like it was nothing. The level of disrespect crossed lines. You don't do that about someone's family and street culture. But G Money wasn't done. He kept going live on Instagram, talking down to NBA YoungBoy, making it clear he wasn't intimidated. Every time he went live, he was basically giving away his location to anyone paying attention. After that interview, everything escalated online. They exchanged words on social media. G Money told NBA YoungBoy he wasn't impressed and that he knew where to find him. NBA YoungBoy responded that he knew G Money's location too and told him to stop playing on the internet. Then, G Money released a song called Industry, where he tore into NBA YoungBoy, discussing his switch from TBG to starting NBA for money. He made more comments about NBA YoungBoy's sister and said things about her that were deliberately disrespectful. He also made a comment about NBA YoungBoy's mother, saying he knew her and that connection prevented him from taking things further, but that NBA YoungBoy had switched sides and he had no respect left for him. G Money kept pushing. He dropped a remix and kept pointing out how NBA YoungBoy abandoned his original crew once money got involved. During another Instagram Live, G Money called NBA YoungBoy out directly, pointing out his constant shifting of crew affiliations and claimed identities. Someone close to G Money told NBA YoungBoy there was no way he could survive this conflict. On September 9th, 2017, G Money went to a Grain studio on Dallas Drive to record a feature. He'd spent the day helping his pregnant girlfriend move into their new house. Things seemed positive for him, but according to what the streets were saying, NBA YoungBoy's camp had already decided G Money had to go. NBA YoungBoy's manager, Big Dump, allegedly put money out for a hit after G Money's disses became too much. Around 11 p.m., G Money finished recording and headed to the exit. Shooters were positioned and waiting for him. When he walked out, gunfire erupted immediately. Videos of G Money from inside the studio that night circulated online, which is how the opposition knew exactly when he'd be leaving. As he came through that door, shots rang out. A video afterward showed a bloody pillow near where G Money fell, leading to rumors that shooters had thrown a pillow and said something about sleep. Whether accurate or not, it became part of the legend, and NBA YoungBoy referenced it in songs years later. Fat Chapo was inside with G Money when the shooting started. He ran out, found G Money on the ground, and called for help. G Money's mother and baby mama rushed to the scene, but police had already locked everything down, keeping them away. Medical personnel couldn't save him. G Money died at the location. While people debated who pulled the trigger, the real question was, who made the decision? The streets pointed straight at the top of NBA YoungBoy's operation. Police moved quickly. Within months, they identified their suspect, OTS Lil Pap. The evidence seemed strong enough to charge him with second-degree murder. Case closed, it appeared. But it was actually more complicated than that. The prosecution's case was based on Pap being in the vehicle with whoever actually fired. They couldn't prove Pap pulled the trigger, but they said he was present. The whole case relied on circumstantial evidence and witness statements. Surveillance footage and phone records allegedly placed Pap there, but there was no direct proof he was the shooter. Pap claimed innocence the entire time, but more importantly, even G Money's closest associates started saying police had the wrong person. Fredo Bang, G Money's right hand, went public saying Pap wasn't responsible. Fredo stated he believed Pap was innocent and the real shooter was still out there walking free. But someone had to take the fall, and Pap fit the profile perfectly. He was known as the Muscle. He had the reputation for handling dirty work. He was an easy target. Pap sat in jail for 2 years before his case went to trial. During that time, the war between NBA YoungBoy's crew and TBG intensified dramatically. More deaths happened, more revenge killings occurred, and it became obvious that G Money's murder had started something massive. In 2019, Pap accepted a plea deal and got sentenced to 5 years for accessory after the fact. That's a major reduction from a murder charge. It made people wonder if Pap had information to trade, but Pap said he never cooperated with law enforcement. He explained that taking a trial risk in Louisiana wasn't worth it. The state hands out severe sentences. 5 years seemed manageable compared to potentially life. He claimed innocence, but took the deal anyway. Pap served roughly 3 years of that sentence, moving between state and federal prisons. He had zero problems inside. He never needed protective custody. His record stayed clean, meaning no cooperation with authorities. He had physical altercations with people seeking G Money revenge, but he never asked to be separated from general population. Federal time has different politics, but Pap's paperwork held up. He never snitched. He never revealed who actually ordered G Money's death. That earned him respect from unexpected places. But back outside, violence continued while Pap was locked up. Big Dump, who allegedly put the contract on G Money, got killed in 2018. The word was that Lit Yoshi and Boulevard Quick, 2 TBG affiliates, were responsible, acting as revenge for G Money's murder. Boulevard Quick had been close with G Money before he died. When Boulevard Quick got out, he started making diss tracks about NBA YoungBoy and talking about what he'd do. But in November 2018, NBA YoungBoy's crew caught up with him. Boulevard Quick was found shot outside his apartment in Baton Rouge. People said Duty Black, connected to NBA YoungBoy, knew someone in Boulevard Quick's apartment complex, and that's how they got the location. The cycle never stopped. One side suffered a loss, then retaliated. Someone died. Their people looked for payback. Federal agents were watching everything the whole time, building files, documenting patterns. When Pap got released in 2024, he should have learned something valuable. He'd beaten a murder charge, served his time, had a fresh start available. Instead, he went straight back to the old ways. First sign came when he started going live on Instagram, playing NBA, YoungBoy music, talking that same street language that got him locked up before. He posted from the same neighborhoods where the original drama started, showing he was still comfortable there. Pap never actually left the crash dummy lifestyle. He was still around NBA YoungBoy circle, still moving on the same frequency. Even though he'd started his own label called OTS, Only the Shooters, he moved like he was still NBA YoungBoy's enforcer. The warnings were obvious. He was getting into online beefs, threatening rappers, making it known he was still about that life. When Dallas rapper Montana 700 dissed NBA YoungBoy, Pap warned all of Dallas not to disrespect him. Then, Pap started beefing with Fredo Bang online. He called Fredo fake and said he was doing anything for blog attention. Fredo responded, but Pap made clear he wouldn't back down from anyone. It got worse when Pap saw his little brother NBA Ben 10 with a black eye. He went on Instagram Live angry, saying anyone he's called his brother he'd go crazy for. He was upset Ben 10 got jumped and his other brothers didn't help. But the real issue was that Pap's answer to everything was violence. He never learned to handle situations without a gun. He still thought like the streets convinced him, that problems always have violent solutions. That mentality caught him in February 2026. Pap got involved in a domestic situation that spun completely out of control. Instead of walking away or handling it like an adult, he grabbed a gun and shot up a house with 10 people inside. According to police, Pap fired multiple shots into a residence during a domestic dispute. This wasn't gang warfare. This wasn't NBA YoungBoy business. This was personal drama he couldn't manage, and he made a decision that could cost him everything. Police arrested him and hit him with 10 counts of attempted first-degree murder. That's not negotiable. In Louisiana, each count means 10 to 50 years. 10 counts means potentially 500 years total. And the wild part is, this wasn't even gang-related. This was personal stuff he lost control over. This is where it gets dangerous for NBA YoungBoy. Federal prosecutors are connecting dots. They're looking at the violence surrounding his crew, the deaths, and who's giving orders. Pap pulled triggers, but he wasn't making those decisions independently. The RICO Act allows prosecutors to prosecute entire organizations, not just individual shooters. If they can prove NBA YoungBoy runs a criminal enterprise with him at the top giving orders and people like Pap executing them, everyone goes down. Pap's loyalty only extends so far. He did time before without talking, but now he's potentially facing life in prison. That pressure makes people reconsider their options. Federal prosecutors have successfully used RICO against rap organizations. They got YFN Lucci. They targeted Young Thug and YSL. The feds have been watching NBA YoungBoy's crew for years. Pap's arrest gives them ammunition to argue the whole thing is a criminal enterprise. This situation shows the fundamental problem with how these operations function. They surround themselves with crash dummies to do dirty work, but when those dummies get arrested, it threatens everything. The relationship between rappers and their street-connected people has always been complicated. Rappers need protection and street credibility to survive, but surrounding yourself with violent people creates liability that can destroy your entire legacy. Pap was never family to NBA YoungBoy. He was a tool, something to use when hard decisions needed making. Now that tool is broken and could become a weapon turned back on them. Federal prosecutors love flipping low-level people to reach the top. And Pap knows every location, every hit, every detail. Consider Pap's perspective. He gave everything to NBA YoungBoy. His freedom, his future, his whole life. What'd he get? Used like an object and discarded once he became a problem. While NBA YoungBoy makes millions living in mansions, Pap's in a cell, potentially facing life. The timing is terrible for NBA YoungBoy. He's already facing federal charges, trying to stay out of prison. Having his former enforcer arrested for 10 attempted murder counts just gives prosecutors more evidence that he leads a violent criminal enterprise. The pattern is undeniable. Bodies keep dropping around NBA YoungBoy, and the same people keep getting arrested. First, Pap for G-Money, then other affiliates for other shootings. Eventually, prosecutors will argue this isn't coincidence, it's conspiracy. RICO cases are built on patterns. Prosecutors don't need to prove the leader ordered every crime. They just need to prove the organization engages in systematic illegal activity to accomplish its goals. And with NBA YoungBoy's crew, that pattern is increasingly obvious. Baton Rouge knows what's happening. When your main enforcer gets arrested twice for serious violent crimes, that's not coincidence. That's pattern. That's exactly what federal prosecutors use to build RICO cases. But underneath this is tragedy. Baton Rouge has dealt with generational violence, and situations like this perpetuate the cycle. Young people see Pap's story and think that's loyalty, catching bodies for people who don't genuinely care. The music industry profits from this street narrative without dealing with the consequences when violence becomes real. They want authenticity and credibility, but they don't want to address the actual human cost. Even if Pap never talks, his arrest damages NBA YoungBoy. It shows the organization attracts violent people and violence follows them. That's exactly what prosecutors need for RICO cases. Timing couldn't be worse for NBA YoungBoy. He's been trying to clean up his image, focus on music, stay out of problems. Then, his former enforcer gets arrested for 10 attempted murder counts, dragging all that street drama back into the spotlight. One thing's definite, this isn't over. The feds are watching. Streets are talking. Everyone's wondering, who falls next? In Baton Rouge, loyalty has limits. When you're facing life in prison, even the most solid people reconsider their position. The real question is whether this serves as a wake-up call for other young people in similar situations. Will they see Pap's story and understand being a crash dummy isn't worth it? Or will they think Pap just got unlucky and they can do it better? History suggests the latter. The streets always need new crash dummies, and there's always someone willing to fill that role. They see money, respect, status. They don't see consequences until it's too late. That's the actual story. It's not about one person making bad choices. It's about a whole system built on violence and loyalty, and what happens when that system starts breaking. For NBA YoungBoy, this might just be the beginning of much bigger problems. The feds have been patient, but patient doesn't mean they're not paying attention. Every arrest, every shooting, every body, they're taking notes and building their case. When they finally move, it will be swift and devastating. And maybe Pap's arrest is the domino that makes everything collapse.